One of the coolest mechanics in Pokemon is bringing your character from one game to the next. Now imagine doing that across 9 generations. If you've been around the block and you've played them all, you probably have a couple Pokemon that are from the older games. And that's pretty cool. Good job. But I want to take it a step further. Not only do I want to have a Kyogre from Gen 3, but I want to have one with optimal stats. Welcome back, fellas. Today, I'm going to show you how you can catch all the legendary Pokemon from the Gen 3 games with competitive-ready stats for battling, raiding, or just flexing in the modern games. This process can be a huge pain. IV calculating, endless soft resets, and the nightmare of transferring from Game Boy Advance all the way to Nintendo Switch. But I've done it, and I'm laying out my entire process to make it as simple and rewarding as possible for you. Damn, I'm a homie. Like and subscribe. Alright, so before I get into it, there's a couple physical requirements that you have to meet to be able to do all this. You need a way to play the Gen 3 games, a method of transferring from Gen 3 to Gen 9. Now you could be a psychopath and do it vanilla, or you could take advantage of the resources that we have in 2025 like PKSM or PKHex. Note, you have to be a good boy. If you use these programs to do anything other than transfer your Pokemon, you lose 50 gamer score and it goes on your permanent gamer record. And the last thing is, have fun. Now for the in-game requirements, you're going to need a Master Ball, or at least 100 of whatever kind of ball you want to use. You don't have to use Master Ball, but it really speeds it up. A rare candy would be useful. Vitamins like calcium or protein so we can more conveniently calculate our IVs. And you should use the IV calculator on Psypokes. I'll leave a link for that in the description. So if you have all that, make sure you have an open party slot and then save in front of whatever legendary you want to get. Now in Gen 3, Synchronize doesn't work on static Pokemon for some reason. It actually only works in the wild in Pokemon Emerald. No other Gen 3 game has a synchronize function, so I kind of leave nature up in the air. If you want to keep resetting for the stat that you want and the nature, you're totally allowed to do that. I give you permission. That's really cool, man. Now you can just start chucking Master Balls. So now that you got your Pokemon, let's check out its stats. First one, I got a mild nature, so let's head over to the IV calculator and punch everything in. Mewtwo from Gen 3 at level 70 with a mild nature. Submit. So if we take a look at our attack, it has to be 159 for it to have a chance to be a 0. And I say have a chance because it's not always going to be 0 if it's the lowest that it can be. Now the Mewtwo that I got has a 174 attack stat, so that is not what we're looking for, so we're going to reset over this. You basically just keep doing this until you get the Pokemon that you want with the lowest stat that you want. You can do this with attack or special attack, it works the same way. You can even do it with speed. Okay, so I caught a few more, and I have one that's naive right here. And this one does have a 159 attack stat, so we're going to check out what it could be. A naive Mewtwo at level 70 with 159 attack either has a 0 attack IV or a 1 attack IV. So we need to give this Mewtwo 4 attack IVs in order to find out if it's a 0 or a 1. Because every 4 EVs means that the stat goes up by 1. And since the vitamins give 10, the stat will go up by 2. So we're not going to be using these. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to knock out 4 Pokemon that give 1 attack EV. So in this case, I decided to go to the left of Viridian City because there are Mankey and Nidoran there. Something I like to do to keep track of how many you've taken down is using your PP. So once I have 16 Swift PP out of 20, that's how I know that I knocked out 4. Okay, so I have 16 PP left on Swift. So now what I'm going to do is use a rare candy on Mewtwo. And his attack went up to 161. So we're going to update the IV calculator, change the level to 71, attack to 161, and EVs to 4. And it says 0 out of 0. So this is a 0 attack stat Mew in Leaf Green version. Now make sure that you save your game, and there's one more thing that I like to do before I transfer. So in most Pokemon games, there are ribbons that you get for beating the campaign, aka either the Elite Four or Red in Heart Gold Soul Silver, or the Triumphant ribbon in XD and Colosseum. Whatever the main ribbon is that you get for beating the campaign, I like to put that on the Pokemon, just to signify which game it's from. Now in this case, we're going to run through the Elite Four of Fire Red, Leaf Green to get the Champion ribbon. So whenever you send this Pokemon out in the newer games, it's going to say Mewtwo the Champion, and you can only get that in Gen 3. It's the same thing in Fire Red, Leaf Green, Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald. If you beat the Elite Four, you get the Champion ribbon. So we're just going to do a little Elite Four run, and then it'll be all set to transfer. I've entered Mewtwo in the Hall of Fame. It has a 0 attack stat. Don't really care about the nature, since you can't control it. So to me, this is as good as it gets. Alright, so let's say you've went through the transferring process, and you have your Pokemon in Pokemon Home. As of right now, the easiest and fastest way to level up a Pokemon to level 100, get specific EV builds, and getting all the mints and whatnot that you need to max out a Pokemon's stats, it's all in Scarlet and Violet. Super easy to get. A few raids can get you a Pokemon to level 100, and enough money to buy all the vitamins and other stuff that you need. So this is actually a Kyogre that I caught in my copy of Japanese Emerald. I'm just going to use this as an example so I can not have to transfer my Mewtwo right away. I like to transfer Pokemon in bulk because it really does take a long time. If you plan on using this to get multiple Pokemon, I would wait until you have all of them ready to go so that you only have to do the tedious transfer process once. Like I said earlier in the video, there are some shortcuts that you take. How I go about it going from Gen 3 to Gen 9 is I take my GBA cartridge, I put it in my Game Boy operator. If you don't know what that is, check it out. Very good investment. Take the Pokemon from the save file and then move it into my R4 card copy of Gen 5. At that point, I trade it to a real copy of Black, and then it goes through the Poke Transporter tool right into Pokemon Bank. And from there, you can just get the code and then go straight into home. From here, you just take a build that you like. I recommend checking out Pikalytics. It has the best, most up-to-date VGC builds. I'm a VGC player, so I go off those. If you want singles, you could check out Smogon or whatever. But yeah, now I have a Kyogre from Japanese Emerald version. 0 attack stat, so it takes minimal damage from confusion and foul play, as optimal as you could hope for. Within reason. Yes, I know about RNG manipulating. It takes way too much focus time for any normal person to reasonably put in just to get one single Pokemon. So I think that this is a good compromise in this day and age. I generally spend most of my time in the retro Pokemon titles, but this gives it a cool way for me to bring that experience to the new games. Let me know what you guys think. Please make sure you leave a like, and let me know what kind of hunts you guys are planning on doing. I play every Pokemon game pretty religiously, so, you know, if you guys are doing something cool, let me know. There's so many different cool ways that you can be playing these games, so I always like to learn more and hear what others are doing. This has been Neo Blastoise, and I'm checking out. I'll catch y'all later.